Okay, so I don't mean to be like jumping in on Scotty Bailo's broadcast, so I'm going to get off here. But holy shit! I mean, I don't understand why every time I try to do an effing live stream, something happens. I don't understand it. Let's see, what time is it? So I don't know. 6:03. I don't know if you're going off, Scott. Huh. Ugh. I don't know if somebody else is going on. You guys can let me know. Because I don't want to step on anybody else's toes. Nobody was here, and so I figured I might as well go ahead and do stuff. Hi, Master Richie. Hi, Son Says. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is wrong with my streams. I think it's something that people, AI or something, doesn't want me to do it. I don't know. Thank you guys for being here. Now, if somebody was supposed to come on after Scott and I'm stepping on their toes, please let me know because I don't want to do that. But this is just something that nobody is here right now, and so I figured I'd come on. But if somebody is supposed to be on right now, just let me know, please. Oh, Simon says, yeah. I'm going to give you a link for it. If I can. You must have some vital information. Well, I thought I did. Okay, so Simon, I'm going to give you a link to this if I can figure out how to do it. Hang on just a second. Oh, goodness. Okay, so let me see here. Oh, you guys, why is this such a weird thing? It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. That just like every time I try to go on, it's just such craziness. Okay, so I'm getting ready to. Okay, there we go, Simon. All right, now hang on. I'm gonna try to get you on here. Shit. Just hang on a second. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to your email. Just a second, Simon. I'm trying to get it to go, but I've got to figure this out. For God's sake. Oh my God. Oh, just hang on a second, please. I'm sorry for your. I'm glad you're patient. Because I want you to get on. I've been wanting to have you on my broadcast for a while now. It's 1 a.m. where you are? Oh my goodness. It is where I am. It is 6:07 p.m. So, all right. So I am still trying. Okay, just let me think a second. I have to think about how to do this. I've done it before. If it's 5:07 there, Richie, you must be on the Pacific Coast. Can you use the link from before? I don't think so, Simon. I have to give you a new one, I think. So just hang on a second. I'm going to try to get it to you. Okay, so I'm getting the link now. Yay! Finally. Okay, so I'm sending this to you right now, Simon. Okay, so go ahead and click on that link that I just gave you. Hopefully you'll get it. I might send it to somebody else too, just to. Did you get it? Simon says. I think I'll see it on here when you connect. So go ahead and connect as soon as possible if you can. Hi, Holly G. It's good to see you. Hi, Preliminal. I'm trying to get Simon Says on here, you guys. I sent him a link. Hopefully he'll come on soon. Master Richie, thank you for being here as well. I don't know, you guys, if I'm stepping on somebody else's toes, let me know, because I didn't know. I came on because no one was here, and I just thought, well, I'll just go on. So, hi, Charles. Good to see you. I liked your broadcast earlier this morning. Okay, so darn it. Simon, have you tried to come on? Because I don't see you here yet. Yeah, I sent you the link for it, Simon. So you should have gotten it. I'm doing okay, Charles. I don't know. I just decided to come on, even though this is not my normal time, because no one's here right now. And so it's just a convenient time for me to come on. But I'm hoping that Simon can come on. Let's see. I always loved imagination and creativity. I never felt at home in this reality. Even as a child, I wondered where was I before being born into this. Yes. There's something weird about us, isn't there? Because I feel the same way. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. It should. Damn. Oh, hang on a second. Let me try one more time. I'm sorry, Simon. You're right. Hang on a second and I will give you a different one. Darn it. I screwed up. That's my fault. Okay, I'm sending you a new link, Simon. And this is that was totally my fault and I'm so sorry. Hang on a second. I'm sending you a new link just now, and this one should work. I screwed up. It was my fault and not yours. Oh, you don't consider yourself a human? Preliminal? I mean, why would you say that? Give me a little more details. Why would you think that, or why would you say that? I'm curious. Live stream, whatever. I know. I was I'm so like not into whatever this is right now. I'm just like, that's why I say that live stream, whatever, because I don't give a shit right now. I'm so like, it's so craziness. I mean, everything is so crazy. And that's why. But anyway, Simon, are you gonna be able to get on now?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so
I'm glad this has worked.
I'm so glad that we finally got this to work.
I know. Me and technology don't go together very well.
Well, I screwed up. It was my fault.
Can you hear
So,
me okay?
yes, I can hear you fine. So,
Smashing?
tell me about your story. Tell us about your Mandela stuff.
Oh, my Mandela. I think it was the movies that set me off first, like Forrest Gump and Star Wars. They all got me looking into it because I knew something had changed.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what got me started into the Mandela. But to work out what is going on, I haven't got a clue.
Who does, honestly?
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been trying to figure that out myself, and I'm like, I have an engineering background, I have a technical background, and I'm like, it baffles my mind. I'm like, what could be happening to us? What could be
Well, I'm
happening?
exactly the same. You see, because I come from an engineering background as well. I'm a mechanical fitter, and I work on power stations. So I like to know the mechanics of things.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to work it out, it's just at first you think it's impossible. It must be things can't change. It's impossible.
But
You
yet they
know
have. But yet they have.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And so how do we explain it? How do we explain this away? How do we figure out what is happening to us? you know?
I, I think it's the dimension. I think we've slipped dimensions or a parallel universe, or that's the only way I can explain it.
So is a parallel dimension the main thing that you're thinking that is what's going on with us then?
Well,
Because I
we know scientists say that they parallel universes do exist. So if the scientists have saying that it does exist, many universes, there's a chance that we have slipped over to a different one, maybe. I
well,
don't know.
I don't discount that. I actually think it is a very strong possibility. But the thing is, when they say that something is what it is, then that makes me doubt it even more sometimes. You know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And so, but yes, but how come we haven't known about it before? I mean, how come people haven't been talking about it before? How come people haven't been,
I think
and
it's
then,
I think it's because we have more access. We can research things now. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, someone could have said to us, "Oh, have you seen that word? It's changed." But you wouldn't have researched it because you didn't have the accessibility to research it. But now we're straight on the internet and we're looking at things and we're seeing it. We're looking for proof. I think it's so much easier for us to research things now that we can actually find the differences.
yes. And I wonder how much my life would have been different if I would have had the internet when I was a kid, because I was so technical minded, because I was, so curious, because I was so math oriented, because, and now it's like, we have all this, and but at the
Yeah,
same time, is it something that is a detriment to us now?
well, the internet,
Yes.
it makes life easier for us, doesn't it? 2 clicks and you find whatever you want to find, you know? Um, I think it opens up a lot of things to us as well. I think it's a good thing, but it's it opens up so many different avenues that it's hard to know what is right, if you know what I mean.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's just, I mean, if I would have had this when I was a kid, I could have been so much smarter, and I could have been so much more aware. But at the same time, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, is it a good thing or not? I mean, yes, it is. But at the same time, it's like, ugh, I don't know. I mean, because
You're still smart without the internet, though, Ian. Like 20 years ago, still the same person, aren't you? You're still smart then as you are now. You just got different tools now.
yes, yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. It's so I love your voice. This is wonderful for you to come on my broadcast. Thank you.
With you.
I love English voices. I mean, I'm in love with Scott and Ma both. So I mean, I'm also in love with you because those voices really are awesome. but
I
anyway,
was,
what do you guys think about American voices or accents?
well, I was just going to say, I was listening to your YouTube earlier today. That you one of your, I think it was one you did last night, and I fell asleep to listening to your voice this afternoon.
Well, a lot of people say that. They're like, you need to read kids stories and nighttime stories, and I'm like, that's
Yeah, it
wonder.
was
That's
very
what
good.
it's kind of neat that people think that, but I'm like, oh goodness.
It was really calming, if you know what I mean. It just put me to sleep. So,
I know, but that's? I mean, I want you guys to listen to me, not put you to sleep.
I don't know what you were like, but my sleeping pattern is really all over the place at the moment.
Oh my
It's like,
goodness, yes. I mean, well, see, that's the whole thing with the Schumann, and I call it the Schumann because people say Schumann, and that's but I am German. I have a German heritage, and so like I know that man's name is pronounced Schumann from the German.
Yeah.
But anyways, uh it makes a huge difference for me, the Schumann. I mean, I really think that there's something that's affecting all of us. Um, because I either sleep all the time or not at all,
Yeah.
you know? And what are your sleeping patterns?
I found a goal.
I found a goal.
Ooh, I'm echoing now,
I'm
I think.
echoing now, I think.
So are you sleeping a lot now or not?
I have days where I don't sleep much, and then I'll catch up, if you know what I mean. I'll maybe have 3 or 4 hours sleep a night, and then I'll have 10 hours sleep. Seem to catch up.
See, that's how I am because I either sleep all the time, and I know exactly, like I look at the Schumann and I know when it's normal, I sleep
Yeah.
a lot. And when it's like off the charts, when you see all the white, on the graph, that's when I don't sleep. And so I think I mean, I've been tracking it, and I honestly, for me, I'm not saying for everybody or whatever. I just know that for me, I think it has something to do with it. I really do.
Yeah. I don't know what causes it. It's annoying, because when you do want to sleep and you can't. Um, but thank God for the internet, because you'd be bored if you didn't have the internet.
Yeah. I know, right? I mean, it's like as much as I complain about it, and I hate it when like my family members are always on the phone and stuff like that, because honestly, I'm not. I normally don't. I know it probably doesn't seem like that because I'm online right now, but I actually I kind of hate technology, as far as like, I'm thinking that, stay off your damn phone, talk to people, and so when people are always on Facebook and stuff like that, ah, I mean, the only reason that I'm on Facebook, I have like a personal account, and then I had like the account for this site or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like really, why do I even care? I mean, that people listen to me or whatever. And the only reason I do care is because I'm nuts, and I want to know that I'm not the only nutty one in this world. you know and so, I mean, that's the only reason that I have anything to do with all this stuff, is that I'm like, I need to know that I'm not the only nutty person in this world. Simon, please tell me I'm not the only one nutty person in this world.
Well, we know we're not, because you just look at the community. When you Scout Performance was the guy who I followed, if you know what I mean. But I only
Yeah.
came across him 6 months ago. And every Monday, Mandela Monday, I tune in. It's like I've got to tune in now on a Monday. But I've only found him 6 months ago.
Have you seen? Did you hear me on a couple of his broadcasts?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I was a guest on a couple of his broadcasts, and he means a lot to me too. I mean, because he's one of the main people, and it just makes us feel like, we're not alone in this. You know?
But it's also it's different. It's not like watching a video of a YouTube video. It's actually being involved in a conversation. That's
Uh-huh.
how it feels when you listen to it, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're part of like a community where we can talk with each other. We can figure out. I mean, even though we can't figure out what's going on, it's like we're at least trying to converse with each other to I don't know, just
Well, it's like reaffirming each other that we aren't going crazy.
yes.
That's what it's doing. Because if it was just me on my own and I was spotting these things and I had no outlet or anybody to mention it to, you would think you were going crazy. But when you've got other people and there's lots of people noticing things, that's how you know that something is definitely going on. Something is
Yes.
happening, you know. And it's little things that you notice. It's like a movie line changing is nothing really, because if you didn't
I know the logos. I mean, who the fuck cares? It's the
exactly,
logo. It's the geography, the anatomy, the Bible changes. Those are the ones to me that are important. I mean, because yeah, people talk about these logo changes or whatever. Who cares about that?
yeah,
You know,
exactly,
when you've got like continents moving, you know,
exactly, yeah,
when you've got
and massive
continents
changes.
moving. And so it's like, and why do people not care? Because like even my kids, I've talked about this on my broadcast several times, and it's like, how come they don't care? How can people not care about this? I don't see it. I don't understand. I mean, you're really that
Well, we all know that TV brainwashes you, and I think 99% of people watch the TV, so they're brainwashed not to notice things. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think you're right about that because see, I am one that doesn't watch a lot of TV. I mean, I
Exactly.
do watch like certain TV shows, like for instance, this is one that I want to bring up right now. It's called The Here and Now on HBO, and it's all about the 11/11 and how people are seeing the 11/11. Why would they make a show on that if it wasn't a phenomenon?
Well, I think these people who write these shows also use the same chat rooms and YouTube channels that we do. I think they get the ideas from us.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with that too. Yeah. And that's the whole thing too, is that like, um, why are we special? I mean, I don't want to make it sound like we are, but we are in some ways because we're like the 1% or whatever
Ooh,
that
yeah.
see all this stuff. So why can we see this?
Well, I've never been the kind of person to follow the herd, if you know what I mean. A big crowd of people, I would never, if they're all walking in one direction, I'd be the one person walking in the opposite direction. That's the way I've always lived my life. Um, if something's happening, I always ask why. And a lot of people don't ask the question why. You know, I
Well,
think,
see, that's exactly what I feel too, because like even for instance 9/11, I mean, I knew something was wrong that day when I didn't see the plane at the Pentagon or the Pennsylvania field. I knew, I was like, there's something. What I knew something was wrong. I was like, there's something wrong with what they're showing us, and it bothered me, and I'm like, that was when I first woke up. I think was nine
yeah,
eleven.
I think 9/11 woke a lot of people up. I think it was the big one that woke a lot of people up that we are being lied to, you know. But a lot of people, majority of people, are still turning a blind eye to it. They know something's wrong, but they won't admit it. And you've got to admit there is something wrong. You might not have the answers why
I know.
something.
I mean, I don't have any answers. I
No,
don't have any answers, but I know something's wrong. You know?
but I can say to my friends, well, what about Building 7 at 9/11? And they just dismiss it. They don't want to know. They're not bothered anymore. They're just, that's happened and it's gone. You know what I mean? They just want to believe what they're getting told because they aren't interested to find out the truth. Um, and that's where the problem lies. You have to actually want to find out the truth. And once you start wanting that, you start seeing other things.
But why don't people want to know the truth? That's what I don't get. I don't get why, people just ignore stuff. Why, how can they not be interested in something that is so profound?
Because they're brainwashed. Because they just want to do the 9 to 5. They just watch TV. They want to eat the dinner. They want to go to bed and do work, and that's all they want to think about. They don't want to ask the big questions, really.
I can't fathom why people would be like that, though. I mean, I understand. I know people are like that. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my family. But
Exactly.
I don't understand why people don't care. Even my kids. I mean, at least they know I'm not crazy and stuff, and they say that to me. But it's like they're like, Mom, I don't care. I just want to live my life. And I'm like, how can you not care? This is so profound. This is like life changing.
Yeah, yeah. But I was the same probably when in my teens and in the early 20s. I wasn't bothered what was going on outside, you know what I mean? Or what was on the news or world events. Didn't bother me. I was concerned with my day-to-day things. I don't know. And plus, life's very fast now. We get information so fast, we can learn something and then forget it straight away. It's
Well,
like a
see,
throwaway facility.
that's what I think. I've done a video on it, and I need to do a second one because I said part 1 and I haven't done a part 2. But it was called, um, oh shoot, what was it called? Something blindness. And what it is, what it's all about is that you can only like. I think our brains only can handle so much, and then after that, you're just like, it's too much, and it goes off. I mean, like you cannot like remember what was it called? Situational blindness. I can't remember the video. Damn. But anyways, what it was about though was just that our brains cannot handle. You can only handle so much, and that's it. After a certain point, it just it goes off. And so I think that's what part of this stuff is.
Yeah, I can. If I get an interest in something, I get that interest and I really follow it. But I can get to a certain point where I move on to something else, if you know what I mean. I'll get really deep into something, and then there'll be something else. Like in 6 months' time, there'll be something else that takes over from that, and I get. It's like it's not that I'm not forgetting it or I don't want to know or learn any more about a certain subject. It's just once I get to a certain point, I'm like, well, might be
That's
something else I need to
yeah.
learn, and I can be distracted very easily onto some new projects or new information. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, so preliminal, we are the souls that are somehow separated now because we see the bigger picture. Yet it seems because the brightest are not among the affected. So does something else. I know why selected souls. That's what he's saying. That why are we selected? That's what I want to know. Why are we chosen? Why? I mean, is it an experiment? That's what he's just saying. Chosen to be experiments for whoever is doing this. That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering that. I'm wondering, are we some kind of weird freaking experiment?
Well, it goes back to the hologram, doesn't it? If we're all in the Matrix, this is a computer program that we're living in, and that's a theory that's out there, and it could be true. We just don't know. Could be a computer program that we're just living, and we're just seeing it. We're actually seeing that it's not real.
See, I don't want to scare people about, like, I've talked about the whole dead thing and also the computer program, but I honestly think that's what it is. I think it is a computer program because I don't see how we can see, like, I don't see how I can see all these repeating numbers and have like my mom say, oh, put it in the microwave for 1:11. Why would she say that? Why would she say that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre to me. I mean, I honestly think that we are in a computer program, or
Well,
in
well, once you start going down that route, and if we're living inside a computer, everything is numbers, everything is ones and zeros, and that's how a computer writes its programs, ones and zeros.
yes,
Um,
binary. Yep.
yeah, and scientists have said that when you get right down to the nitty gritty, the smallest particles and protons or whatever they are, it looks like a computer code. Scientists have actually said that. Um, And even they think that we could be in a hologram. Some scientists believe that we could be living in a hologram.
Well, they say that, and one of the reasons that makes me think that we're not is because they do say it. However, the evidence to me, when I look at the evidence, it looks to me like we are in a computer program, because I don't see how you can see like all these repeating numbers all the time. I don't see how. I mean, it's like some code to tell us that we are, or whatever, I think. But it's just,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like trying to figure something out when you're sat inside a box. You know what I mean? You know, on the other side of the box there's something there, but you can't get out the box to actually get to it.
Yes,
You
I
know, and
agree. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like we're living in this computer program, but we can't get out of it. We can't get out of the box. We see it, but how can we get out of it?
but also we're trying to answer the big question of what is our purpose? You know, by doing the things we do, and we're asking the big questions of why are we here? What are we for? We're just trying to answer the same question, I believe.
Well, we are. We
Yeah.
are. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, that's why it's so puzzling and it's so disturbing, but at the same time, when we have like MA and Scott really did a great thing in starting this 24-hour thing, because we have to have each other. And there's something about it to where we just have to have each other.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's the beginnings of a community, and I can see this growing into something really big. And I think in a year's time, what we're doing now, what people are doing now, will be totally different in a year's time because there'll be so many of us, and that's a good thing. You know, I think it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. But the thing is that like people are still going to think we're nuts. You know? I mean, they are. you know, they're still going to think we're nuts, and that's
Well,
kind of
it's okay if people think you're nuts because you're not really nuts, you know. And if people want to put labels on things, oh, that's up to them. You just got to be true to yourself, I believe, and don't worry about what other people think.
well. I mean, I don't. I mean, I've never have honestly. I've never worried. I mean, I live in a small town where people know, like, if you walk across the street, they find out about it. I've known that my whole entire life. Well, I haven't lived here in a while, but I mean, I came back. But the whole thing is that, I mean, I'm diagnosed as bipolar,
But
and
at least,
so, you know, people think I'm crazy. They
is that
do.
a recent thing that though, Rain? Is that a recent diagnosis?
Yeah, it is a recent diagnosis,
That's a
but
good thing that you know, because obviously you went through your life without knowing that about yourself. But now you do know that.
well, that's you. Thank you for saying that, because honestly, that is the truth. Because I knew there was something wrong with me my whole life, and I didn't know what it was. And now that I know, I mean, I can deal with it. I mean, and when I see the symptoms of like bipolar and people with bipolar and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I've done all that. And I never knew why I was so, you know, messed up.
Well,
And now
I'll tell you
at least now I know.
exactly. I'll tell you a story about me. I went through school and I was never good at school, never good at English or writing or spelling. And I just put it down to being daft, being thick. I went to college. I went back to college actually when I was 20 to do an engineering thing. And when I was writing my essays, I was really bad at writing. And one of the teachers said, well, you've got a problem. And I found out that I was dyslexic. I didn't find out until I was like in my 20s. And it was such a relief finding out that I
Because
wasn't
you
daft.
knew. Yeah.
Exactly. But I went through all through school, my younger years, and none of the teachers picked up on it. It was when I was later in life. But if it hadn't been for that one teacher at college to actually get me checked, I would have never known. And it was a relief to find out that I wasn't stupid. I had a problem. So I can imagine it was probably a bit like that for you. You knew there was something wrong with you and you needed an answer to it. And when you finally get that answer, you're not mad, you're not crazy. It's
I mean,
just a medical.
yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is, I mean, I know I was always, I mean, I've, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I mean, I have an engineering degree. I am a little bit smart, but the thing is, I still knew there was something, I knew there was something wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we need to just listen to ourselves. We need to take a moment for ourselves and listen to what we're telling ourselves from inside. And if we feel there is a problem or there is something wrong, just go with it. You know what I mean? Just believe in yourself because we know, don't we? We know when something's not right.
Yeah, definitely.
But we can't keep
Well,
judging ourselves against other people because everybody's different. And that's a good thing. That makes the world a nice place when everybody is different. Everyone's totally different.
well, Simon, have you been on other channels at all before? Have you spoken? Because I mean, this is
No,
a great conversation, and I'm so happy that that we're talking and stuff. But it doesn't seem like I've seen you before on other channels.
this is my first time ever, and I think I sent you a message last week
Yes,
because
yeah, you
for
did.
some reason I wanted to speak to you. And like you say, we do need to speak to each other, and that's the good thing about this is that we are coming together as a group of people who know things are changing. We are actually connecting with each other.
Yes.
But this is the first time I've ever done anything like this.
Well, I'm enjoying it tremendously, and uh, it's weird because I never thought that I would have a YouTube channel or anything like that, you know. And so it's crazy, and then for you to want to speak with me, I mean, that's awesome. And to be just, I mean, there's something about this, there's something about our community that we need each other, we need to connect, we need to do whatever, and when we do, it's just great.
The good thing about it is we're not just watching YouTube videos. We're not just watching someone else. We actually are connecting and coming together and talking about it and having a proper open conversation. And
Yes.
to me, that's got to be the best thing about it. Because by doing that, we're going to get to the answers, or we're going to come to an agreement, or we're going to figure something out between ourselves. We're not just going to listen to someone else. We're actually going to come to this together. I think that's what needs to be done
Yes.
because we can't figure it out individually
We
anymore.
don't. Yeah, I mean, well, no, who can? I mean, that's the whole thing. It's just like I mean, I've been trying to figure it out for well, I mean, not as long as some people, because even though I've seen changes since the early 80s, I didn't know this was a thing until like last year, like last October. That was when I first figured it out. But I didn't know that ahead even though I've seen changes my whole life. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know this was something that was, affecting people.
Well, I think probably we all just went through the motions of seeing things happen, but just dismissing it, thinking, "Oh, that's just how it is." We didn't actually think that there's a problem or there's a reason behind maybe these things are changing. It's only now that we're actually asking the question, why? You know, do you think time is speeding up, Rain? Is your body clock and time? Do you think time's got faster now?
Well, for me, I know I've missed days. And I hate to talk about that because it seems so weird. But I know that I've missed entire days. And that's strange. And then
physically missed days, you mean? Like physically, you've like from a Monday, the next thing it's Wednesday.
yes.
So where
And
have you been in between?
I know. Well, that's the question. That's the question. I mean, because I don't know. I mean, and I know I've missed days, and also I've had repeats, which I've talked about a little bit on some of my broadcasts. But it's different. A repeat is different than a deja vu, which I've had deja vus as well. But a deja vu to me is where you think of something that you've had in the past, that you remember, or that it reminds you of something that you've had in the past. Whereas a repeat, to me, and this is the thing that I've had lately happen, is that it's just like the same exact thing happens, like, whatever it is. It's I'm seeing it like in double time,
It's caught in a loop, isn't it?
yeah. And I mean, have you had anything like that? Have you had any?
Well, I have the opposite to deja vu. I have like forward deja vu. Like if sometimes I have a dream, right, and then 6 months time, I have the deja vu and I remember it from the dream. That makes sense. I've been there before.
Yeah, that does. But that's crazy, because like you're seeing it like a long time later. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's only when I get to that point I remember that I dreamed about it. It's like a memory that comes back to me. Like I've been there before, only because I dreamed about it maybe 6, 7 months beforehand. The only way I can explain it, at the time of me having a dream, I don't think anything of it. It's only when I get to the point where I remember it and I feel like I've been there before. But it's because I've had the dream. I don't know whether I'm dreaming into the future or dreaming into down my time scale or my path. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But I do. It happens quite often where I get to a point and I think I've done this before. I've been here.
Yeah, I haven't had a proper. I know what you're talking about, and I mean I've had that before, but I haven't had any like deja vu stuff lately. The main thing that I have is like the repeats, and then also I think I've talked about where Scarab, okay, Scarab performance. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard my broadcast on this about it, but I heard 2 Scarabs. I heard 2 Rachels. I heard two Scotts.
Yeah, I did. I was listening to that night when you were mentioning that, and
I mean,
that was very strange.
I either there's only 2 explanations for that for me. It's either I was hearing their thoughts. That was one possibility, or I was like in 2 different dimensions at the same time. I mean, because I don't see how it could have been anything else. But it was the strangest thing because this was a live broadcast. But you know what? He was so freaked out about that. He didn't respond to me. And then later on, somebody said that they did this. They heard the same thing. They agreed with me. They said I heard the same thing.
Well, that's the good thing about this community.
Yes.
Because when we all, there's going to be someone, if we've got 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever listening in, you won't be the only one that something happens to, you know.
I know,
So,
but that was nuts. And he was freaked because he thought, oh my God, she's hearing my thoughts. You know, that's what his, because I didn't know if it was the thoughts thing or if it was two different dimensions, which now I kind of think it was two different dimensions. I don't think it was hearing their thoughts, but it's just like, he was so freaked out about it. He didn't know what to say to me, you know? And but other people have said that they've heard that same thing on his broadcast, and so that means that I'm not crazy, you know.
No.
It means that other people have seen this too, and why? I
well,
mean,
it must be some way your frequency or your dimensions must have slipped slightly by maybe a second or two.
yes.
So you're hearing two echoes, or you're hearing it, then you're hearing it again.
I mean,
And
it was the freakiest thing to hear two, you know, like two scarabs talking. You know, I was just like, I froze. At home, like, you know, I froze. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, it was so weird. But thank God.
only thing I would say to that, Rain, is if next time, if it happens again, don't be frightened of it. Try to understand it, you know, because you
Yeah.
might be able to do it again. It might be you that made that happen,
Yeah.
you know. So you might be able to tune in. You might be able to tune into two dimensions at once.
I know, but what? But that's scary though, because why? I mean, why would I be, you know, like
Well,
listening into two dimensions like that? And how am I doing that? How am I doing that? You know?
well, it's all information, isn't it? It's all frequency. Everything that we look at and see, it's all information and frequency. Our eyes see it. Our ears receive it. You know, so it's only our brain that is deciphering the information that we get. So maybe your brain can decipher two dimensions at the same time. It's not a scary thing. It's nothing to worry about. I wouldn't be scared of it.
I was though.
Yeah, I would imagine the first time it happens. Yeah, it'd be very scary.
I mean, now I wouldn't be as scared. And actually, it has happened since then. Not necessarily with his broadcast, but it has happened again. And I realized what it was at that time, you know. But it was still a little bit scary. But it was just like, well, this has happened before. I don't need to be scared about it. And so I think the next time it happens, I'll be the same way, is where I'm not going to be that scared. I'm just going to realize that this is something that is real. You know, there's something happening, and I don't need to be scared about it. But at the same time, it is strange. It's very strange.
It's very strange, but it also kind of explains when you said you deja vu, you repeating of things. That's got to be the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you saying things get repeated, but that's exactly the same as hearing scarab a second before he says it, isn't it? It's exactly the same. It's like a repeat.
But I don't want to freak other people out about it, though. I mean, because he was freaked out. He didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure he was freaked out, but he's open-minded enough to understand it, you know.
Well, I mean, he's affected, so I mean, obviously he knows. But the thing is, he was freaked out because he's like, "Is she hearing my thoughts? Is she hearing my?" You know, I mean, no one wants. I mean, I don't want to hear other people's thoughts. You know, I mean, if that's what it is. But honestly, now that I think about it, I think it was actually more like the double dimensions. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. It's like when you walk into a room or walk into a building. For me, sometimes when you walk into a building, you can feel an energy, can't you? Or if it's like a room full of people, you can feel like if it's if someone's arguing in a room, say someone's just having an argument and you walk into that room, you can feel it without them even saying anything. You can
Hmm.
pick up on the energy, can't you?
Yes.
You know, and that we take that as for granted. We all have that feeling sometime, and we just take it for granted. We don't question it. We don't think, oh, why am I feeling this way? Because I've walked into this room and two other people have had an argument. You know, it's because we receive information that we don't understand. You know, we're not even scratching the surface of what we maybe can do with our brains. You know,
Well, and also, I'm just going along with that. I mean, it bothers me when people in our community are fighting with each other because we can't do that. I mean, we have to stick together. And I don't understand why people fight with each other over like little details or whatever. Unless somebody thinks that like somebody's like, lying or like faking it or something like I can see that part of it. But I mean, just to
yeah.
be fighting with each other, why? We have to stick together, you know? We just have to.
It's human nature as well, though, I think, Rain. When you have a group of people, you're always going to get fights in a group of people. It's just human nature, you know. Um,
Well, I can't imagine like honestly, for me it's like I can't imagine fighting with anybody in our community. I mean, maybe that's just me. But I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm not. I'm just saying I can't imagine that because I need you guys so much that
the
I
thing,
don't want to fight with anybody, you know?
if I think if we're actually saying that we have a Mandela community and the people in this community are all seeing changes and agreeing on different changes, we have to stay open-minded enough to other people's reality, you
Yes.
know, because everybody's reality could be just slightly different, you know.
Well,
Like you were
yeah.
saying,
Because
yeah,
even with money bags, I mean, I love his channel, but I don't agree with 100% of all of his stuff. It's about 80%. I'm about 80% with money bags. And because he remembers Caesar CEA, I don't. Mine was always CAE. I mean,
that's right.
and there's lots of people who say, they remember 52 states. I'm always a 50 stater, but I don't
Yeah.
doubt their reality at all. I don't, but it's just not mine. And I'm not going to agree to something that,
You said something the other night that made me go and do a bit of research, and you mentioned Roy Orbison being blind, right? Well, when I
yeah,
was younger, Roy Orbison was always blind in my reality, right? That's how
yeah.
I remember Roy Orbison. He's blind. So I went and looked, and I looked back at videos and his music, and he was never blind now.
I
But
know,
in reality, he was blind.
but he was always blind for you, right?
Yeah,
He was,
always.
he was always blind for me too. And
But he's
so,
not, is he? He's not blind.
I know he's not blind anymore. And you're like, what the heck? I mean, it's craziness, because you're just like, I, and see, that's why I think that, we have to stand up to our memories.
But we
And
can't fight over that. You know what I mean?
right,
If someone says to me, well, no, he could always see in my reality, I can't argue with them. I can't be cross at them or mad at them because they're not seeing it the same way as I am. You just got to be
exactly.
open-minded to say, well, that's okay. In your reality, he could see, but in my reality, he was blind. You
Yes.
just accept it, haven't we? That's all we have to do.
That's amazing that you said that because a lot of people, that's not one that people discuss a lot. And I was just like, I was floored. I was like, he was always blind. to me, always.
It was
And,
me.
you know, that's not one that people discuss a lot. And that's what's interesting is the ones that people don't discuss a lot, because there's a couple others too
Well, I'd
that,
never even thought about it till you mentioned it.
yeah.
You said, yeah, I never thought about Roy Orbison until you mentioned it that night, and I thought, hang on a minute, in my reality, he is blind. So I went and looked, and he isn't blind anymore. It's, but I wouldn't have looked for that without you mentioning it to me.
I know. That's what's so crazy, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's craziness how, you know, and I'm grateful that, I mean, it's fun when people have your same memories, because you're like, well, we're from the same universe or whatever. But
Oh,
I don't think we're ever going to have a person that is 100% with us. I mean, I am convinced of that already, because, you know, I've already seen it, where like the closest that I can come to somebody with my memories is about 80%.
yeah, I don't think you'll ever find someone who'll see the changes that you see, because, like I say, all our realities are all going to be slightly different, and that's okay to be like that. You know what I mean? We can't just say, well, there's one reality. We can't say it anymore, because there could be millions of realities. Well, there've got to be millions, because I think every single person will have a slightly different reality,
Yep.
and they'll be in a slightly different stage, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Someone today could say Roy Orbison can see, but in a year's time, their reality might shift, and they won't realize it's shifted, and they say, no, no, he's blind, you know, but they won't remember him seeing. It's just how it might happen, you know. Things might change for other people at different stages.
I know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy, because I mean, I'm so glad that you saw that too, because that's not one that people talk about a lot. And I'm like, he was freaking blind to me, you know? And
In my
it's,
reality, he used to always be sat on a stool playing his guitar, and he was
yeah,
blind, you know.
he was
But
blind.
when you look at his videos now, he's dancing around on stage, walking around, dancing, and walking downstairs. You can't do that if you're blind.
I know. I know. And that's what's crazy. I mean, it's just like, you know, oh, but thank God that, you know, we have each other, because the whole thing is like, even if we see the same thing or different things, we know that we can trust the other person. Hopefully, you know, you know, I mean, they're telling the truth. I mean, they're going to have a different reality or whatever. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, there's no problem. And I think that's cool that we can, that we can see that, you know, that we can say, you know, they have a different reality and I accept that. And I'm a slightly different reality, but that's okay too, you know?
What, so explain your missing days, because I'm quite interested in your missing days. How can you explain that? How can you explain that to yourself, that you've missed days?
I don't know.
Where
I
do you
don't.
go on them days?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. And but see,
Have you got people around you though who say, no, you were here? You understand what I mean?
well, yeah, well, yeah, I live with my mom and my stepdad, but that's another strange reality that I don't
Yeah.
want to get into, because um but um but yeah,
If you have
they
days, if you have days that you know that are missing, but they say, no, you were here and you were eating your breakfast and having your dinner, how do you explain it to yourself?
but see, I've seen, the whole thing is that I've seen like where I don't remember like total day. I mean, I even had like I've had people say where I talk in my sleep and I do weird things in my sleep.
Yeah, I do
And
weird things in my sleep. I talk in my
and
sleep.
and you know, I don't want to go into it totally, but they're like, you're weird in your sleep. I mean, that's basically what they've told me. And I
Because
think that that's part of when I miss days also, is because because I do weird stuff. I mean, like I'll cuss in my sleep, and I'll do weird stuff where um it's just, it's not normal. It's not normal for something for me to do.
I
And
think,
they're saying,
yeah, but I think we all do. I do weird things in my sleep. You know, what I mean, I've leapt out of bed and banged on the wall, and then woken up and thinking, what am I doing? You know, I've done weird things in my sleep, and I talk in my sleep. I've shouted and screamed in my sleep. But I think that's normal. I think a lot of people do that. It's not normal, you know what I mean? It's just our brains working stuff out, and I don't think that's anything to worry about.
well, I wasn't worried about it until like a lot of people started talking to me about it. I mean, there was a lot of people talking to me about it, and how strange it was, and how weird I was acting, and how like, because like I have a friend that is affected a little bit, and she's like, you were cussing and you were walking into walls. And I'm like, what? You know? And she's like, I know it was probably part of whatever, but I just wanted to tell you. And you know,
Well, that's just sleepwalking, isn't it? You're having a dream and you're sleepwalking at the same time.
well, maybe. I don't know. I just know that I've had a lot of people telling me that I've been acting weird in my sleep. And so, you know, that's, you know,
I wouldn't worry about it, man. You know, you're asleep, you're okay.
well, when I was a kid, it was so funny because my mom and my brother were watching a vampire movie one time. Oh my god, this is hilarious. And I screamed out loud. I was like, "Jeff, I'm going to kill you." And that's my brother's name. But anyway, that was just so funny because, you know.
I'll tell you, I'll tell you something that I do quite a lot, or people tell me I do. I sleep with my eyes open, and when I was a child, when I was a kid, I used to share a bedroom with my brother, older brother, and I would obviously go to bed early because, like, say I was like 7 or 8 year old, and he's 5 or 6 years older than me. I'd go to bed first, and then when he came to bed, he would think I'm awake, and he would talk to me, but I wasn't. I was fast asleep with my eyes open. Well,
Oh,
that's
good.
weird,
Yeah, yeah, that is weird.
you know. So I think we all do weird things. It's just
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't be that upset about it, except for just a lot of people have told me lately. A lot of them have said that I've been acting weird in my sleep, and so it just, it bothers me. And then also it does have something to do with the skip days as well, because I mean,
well, you start going down the when people start talking about missing time and missing days, you start going down the UFO avenue. You know, it's like abduction, isn't it?
well, see, I've never thought that I was ever abducted ever, except for I've had something happen recently where I thought that perhaps I was, because I had this dream where I was in a hospital room, and they were giving me medicine in my shoulder. And see, I have this weird mark on my shoulder that I've never been able to explain. And I've never thought that I was abducted ever before recently. And it's very strange because I have this weird mark on my shoulder that I cannot explain, and it does not go away. It's there right now. And it's like, why would I have this mark on my shoulder like that? You know?
Yeah, but
So
you might have that mark on your shoulder, but you've but you've had a dream about having a medical procedure, maybe that's just your brain trying to give you a reason why you got the mark, if you know what I mean.
Well, I hope
Because
so.
you can't explain it. You can't explain why you got it.
I hope so. I hope that's the reason. But no, I've never ever thought, I've never been one of those people. I've never been one of those people who said I was abducted or anything like that, because I never thought that I was, you know? And then all of a sudden there's just like these weird things that I'm thinking, well, maybe, I don't know.
When people mention they've had missing time, to me that is normally an abduction. You know, it normally goes alongside UFOs. A lot of people who have UFO encounters and missing time, it's the same thing. You know, it's a totally different avenue. It's not Mandela effect, if you know what I mean. It's a
Right.
different subject
Yeah,
altogether.
right. It's exactly a different subject. Exactly.
You
It's
know?
it's a totally different subject. And that's why I've never, well, and plus I just never thought that I was abducted. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel
But
like I
isn't
was.
that the whole point of being abducted, that you don't remember it?
Yeah.
But you have a missing time. You know what I mean? The only proof that we have is missing time on a clock or on a calendar. That's the only proof that we have of it happening.
Well, I have missing time, and so I can't explain that. So I don't know what all that's about. I just know that I never really thought I was ever abducted before until recently, that I thought, well, maybe it's a possibility because of the whole shoulder thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I never had thought that before. I just never had. It wasn't something that entered my brain at all.
I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't be scared of it. Because obviously you're here today and you're fine today, you know. So whatever, if you are being abducted, they're not doing anything that's harmful to you, because they're sending you back and you're okay. You know. So I
True.
wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay, so Brandon, yeah, Brandon, I can have you on my stream. That'd be awesome sometime. That'd be wonderful. But yeah, I haven't been looking at the stream at all, you guys, at the chat. So I'm sorry if I've missed anything, because I've been so involved with Simon.
Well, I can't even see the chat.
Simon,
So
you're pretty fascinating.
I can just talk a load of rubbish. That's all. Yeah.
But so I haven't really been paying attention because I've been so involved with Simon, you guys. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I've never. So have you had any things where you think that you've missed time at all?
Well, I used to have what they say is night terrors. When I was a child, I used to have night terrors where I would think or see things come and get me during the night, and the doctor just put it down to night terrors. It's nothing to worry about, you know. So
Well, I know what night terrors are because my son had them, my youngest son, and it scared the shit out of me every time he had one. I mean, because it would be almost like it felt to me like a demonic presence.
well, I was dragged out of bed many times by my feet, you know. So yes, but they just say that's night terrors. I've had missing time once, a few years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, when I'd got up on the morning, 9 o'clock, and I had an appointment and I had to go and catch a train. So I've gone into the bathroom, had a shower, and I'm brushing my teeth. And I know I have to leave the house by 9:30, you see. And when I finish up and I leave the house and I lock the door and I look at my watch, it's an hour later than what it should be. I've missed my train, but I know for the fact when I was in the bathroom, I had half an hour before I had to leave. So there's been an hour gone there somewhere.
You've had missing time too, then.
Well, I can't explain it, because where does it start and stop? You don't know, do you? You don't feel it.
Exactly.
You don't see it. You see, we only know something's happened by looking at the clock and reality, you know. because you're late for something or you missed something. You know what I mean? But the actual bit in between, you don't know where you are. You have no proof of it.
Right.
So it's hard to explain to anybody, well, I've just lost an hour and I don't know how. You know? I don't know.
Well, and that's why, I mean, that's why I'm so hesitant to try to say that I've had this stuff because, you know, I don't want to, I've never, you know, been the one that talked about the alien and I don't even think that that was necessarily it. I just, it's an unexplainable. I don't know how to explain what happened to me.
I don't think the two subjects are connected. I don't think Mandela and missing time are connected in any way.
Oh, I don't think so either. I agree.
I think it's them two things could affect people who are open-minded to the bigger picture. You know, there's a good chance that people who have experiences with other dimensions or UFOs or whatever are also maybe open to the Mandela effect. I don't know. Until we get a community together, we can join the dots, you know. But at the moment, we can't join the dots because there's not enough of us together.
Well, I love joining the dots with you because it's really been great talking to you for sure. And I do love your accent. I love all the British accents and but I don't know. It's just I don't know how we can how can I don't think we can ever solve this. And we want to solve this. But how, I mean, do you have any inclination of how we can solve this at all?
I think it's only going to take time. I think as the community grows, like I said before, I think we'll answer it together. You know, I think once, but maybe we won't answer it. Maybe we won't get to the bottom of it until something really big changes. You know, something massive might change. Like we mentioned, the continents shifting and moving, and something might just disappear tomorrow. Whole country might disappear.
I know. Well, that's exactly. I mean, yeah, when something like that happens, I mean, that's what I mean, that hopefully that'll wake some people up finally. You know?
Can you imagine that happening, or like just France disappearing, or so, that would be
Well,
massive. But I mean,
it would be massive, but you're right. I don't see that happening. I don't because it's too big of a change because these changes are some of them are so stupid. It's like who cares? Who gives an F about these freaking local changes? I don't care, but I do care about the geography, the anatomy, the Bible. I mean, you know, all those changes are hugely significant to me.
see, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not religious. So I don't understand the Bible and the different things, but I can see the changes in the Bible, and that's a big thing. The Bible is a big thing for the Christians and for the people who read it all the time. It's got to be massive for them to see the changes, but it needs them to speak out about them.
A lot of people who read it all the time don't see the changes. That's the whole thing. You know?
Well, no, because their reality has changed, but so have they along with it. So they don't remember the two realities. They just remember the one that they're in today.
Right.
You know, that's what I think. I think the people who don't see the changes is because they're still in the same reality as us, but they can't remember the old reality as where we remember in the old reality. That's the only way I can explain that, because we can see that me and you know that Roy Orbison was blind.
Yes.
But someone else says no, Roy Orbison could always see because they can't. Their brain doesn't remember the old reality. Or maybe
I don't understand it though. I don't understand why. I mean, why? You know, why is this happening? Why do people not?
well,
I mean, are people, and I've thought this, um, oh shoot, I'm trying to think of what the term is, but where they're just, mind blown, where they don't remember. Shit, what the
Well, they
heck?
haven't picked up on it yet. Their frequency, their brain or them themselves aren't able to see two realities or remember a past reality and live in this reality. They can only be in one. They can only be it today, now. Their brain can't remember the old one, as where we can remember things have changed, things have been different. And
Well,
that's the only reason why.
and what I was saying about the scare performance, shit, that's why, I guess because I can be in two dimensions at one time, but what makes us able to be able to do that?
Well, there's not many of us. Like I said, there's not many of us. There's going to be a people or that can, but we don't understand the universe and physics, and we don't understand everything about this reality, what we live in. So we can pick up on things, and there's a group of us, there's a number of us that can do it. And every day there's new people coming to it. Every day there's more and more people waking up to it and seeing things. So maybe it just takes time.
I don't know.
You mention it to someone today. You say, "Oh, Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates," and you know what I mean, or "Luke, I'm your father." You mention that to someone, and they say, "No, no, it's always been that way." But maybe in 6 months' time, they'll come back to you and say, "Hang on a minute, I remember now."
Well, that's interesting. That's what you just said is very interesting, because there's some stuff that I didn't remember right away. Like, for instance, green being on top on the traffic lights. I didn't remember that right away, but I know that's what it was when I was a child. I definitely know that, but it didn't come to me right away that was a change. Although when I remember seeing, um I, I I was out late at night or whatever, and I thought there's something. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what it was, but I'm like, there's something wrong about this. What is it? you know but I didn't see it right away. But now I see that green was on top for me when, as a child. I know it was. But how come I didn't see it right away, or how come it didn't, that's why I'm thinking that there's some kind of mind control going on, because, why wouldn't I see it otherwise?
I think it's also to do with the fact that because you have seen changes and you understand that things are changing, now you're looking for them as well. So because your brain and your thinking, things can change, and they can change, you're more open to things changing.
Right.
So you couldn't see it a week before, but then all of a sudden you think, hang on a minute, them traffic lights were different before. You didn't see it the week before because you weren't open to it, but the week later or the 2 weeks later, your brain was open to things changing, so it changed on you. But it's the fact that you can remember it the different way, and some people can't remember it both ways. That's where we have the problem.
I have a lot of dual and even triple memories, because the changes have happened for me for so long. They started in the early 80s, so I have a ton of memories that are dual and triple, where it's hard for me to explain to people how I can remember both ways, but I do, because the changes started happening for me so early, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on, but I don't know.
I think you're just the kind of person who's open to seeing things that a lot of people can't see. You can physically tune into things, but you're not making sense of it until now. Only now that you're actually making sense of things and you're realizing that you've always been able to see changes, you know, as where 20 years ago, you probably thought there's something wrong or think
When
there's something changing, but you didn't really pay much attention.
when did you start seeing changes, Simon?
I think I don't know if seeing changes, but I think I've always been open-minded to things all the time. I've always questioned things. But I think, like you said before, I think 9/11 was the big one. 9/11 was what opened my eyes to like
9/11
being,
was huge for me. Huge.
yeah. But I think until we get answers to 9/11, we'll never get answers to anything, you know. And I think people are giving up on 9/11, getting the answers to it, and they're moving on to other things, you know. And I think 9/11 will just get put on the back burner. It'll just get put on the shelf. We'll never get answers to it because people are getting disillusioned with it because they can't find answers or they're not getting told. So they're moving on to new things, new conspiracies, new, you know. I don't really want to talk. I don't really want to really mention the flat Earth, but to me, I can't get into the flat Earth thing at all. It's too big a.
I don't have an opinion on that at all. I have what I'll just say what my opinion is on all that is that I don't think of it as a globe or a flat Earth. I think of it as whatever reality we're in. That's it. I mean, I don't because I don't know. I mean, so I don't think that there's a flat Earth. I don't think there's a globe. I don't think anything. I think that it's just whatever reality we're in, and that's it. So
Yeah. Well, I agree with you totally that I can't prove whether it's flat or round, but I know that everything in nature is always circles, you know what I mean? There's always round balls in nature. Even the atom is a round circular ball. It's not flat, you know? So I can't really think, well, if the smallest thing that we can look at is round, why wouldn't the earth be round? Because it's just nature, isn't it? You know, it
I
makes
mean,
sense.
if I had to pick, and one of the reasons that I would pick this is because my uncle worked on the tiles of the space shuttle, and so I'm a little more grounded as far as like, I had somebody that worked on this stuff, and and he was explaining to me today about a whole bunch of crap about like how there was all these nuclear weapons everywhere. And I've never heard him tell anything like this before. And he was telling me this today. And I'm like, what? You've never told me anything like this before. But, he was in, the Air Force and he worked on, he worked on the tiles of the space shuttle. And so he knows a lot of this stuff. But anyway, he's never told me this before. And I was like, my mind was blown because he was talking about just like a whole bunch of different stuff about how he told me exactly where the nuclear weapons were and shit. and I can't remember what they were now. But he told me this and I'm like, you've never told me this before. And why would that be too? Because why would he have never told me this before? And all of a sudden
Because you're in a different reality now, that's why.
I know.
You're in a reality where he's more open to tell you things. Before you weren't in that reality, but this reality is different.
Because he was telling me where all the nuclear weapons were and stuff and what specific details. Specific details. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I was mind blown. I was like, holy cow, what are you telling me? And I wish I would have written it down because I don't remember any of it right now necessarily. But, well, I remember I know a couple cities where he told me that I was shocked. I was like, they put nuclear weapons there, you know. Anyway, it was mind blowing because I have never heard this story before in my life, and all of a sudden he's telling me this. I mean,
Well,
why would
what
that
started the
be?
conversation? What started the conversation?
I can't remember what I was talking about with him, but you know, he worked in the Air Force, and then he worked on the tiles of a space shuttle. So I mean he, you know, is privy to all this fucking information, you know, but he's never told me this stuff before, where like specific bombs were and stuff, you know, and I'm like, what the heck? You know, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I was just like, I've never heard you tell me this before at all. And I
Well,
don't know.
he must have felt really comfortable to tell you now. You know what I mean? For him to have that conversation with you and openly, freely have the conversation with you, he must have felt comfortable talking to you about it. You know?
I know, but it's just so crazy because I mean, I've never heard him talk about this stuff before ever in my life. And he's only 13 years older than me, but he is my uncle. And you know, I mean, we've talked about like stuff like this before, but not like this, you know, like not specific information like this. I mean, this was very specific information of where like nuclear bombs were and stuff. And I'm like, how did you know this? But of course, he was in the Air Force, so he would have known. But I'm just like, how come I've never heard this before in my life? You know, I'm 50. How come you've never told this before, Uncle? Whatever. I'm not going to say his name, but you know, I'm like, well, how come you've never told me this before? You know, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, well, I'll just give you one city, Wichita, Kansas, which I mean, that's in the middle of freaking nowhere. And you know, he told me like 3 or 4 other cities of where all these nuclear bombs were and stuff. And with these, I mean, detailed, specific information.
he, he probably, because he worked in that field, he probably knows all the information, but it's not something that you can just have a conversation about and start telling you. But now he can, you know what I mean? Because
I guess, but I mean, it is crazy because he's never told anybody this in my life that I've known of. I mean, you know, I don't know. It was bizarre. I'll just tell you that it was crazy.
and what do you do with that information? Now he's told you. What are you meant to do with that information?
Well, I'm not gonna do anything with it, but I just thought it was weird, you know, that
Yeah.
all of a sudden he just started like spouting off all this knowledge, you know, about where these nuclear bombs were and crap. Like, you know, I don't know.
I think that's pretty cool, really, that he's had the conversation with him.
It is. Yes. It was very cool, but it was just like he's never told me this information before, you know. It was just crazy. I don't
You
know.
weren't ready for it before, that's why. But yeah, that's a bit strange. But, yeah.
I just don't understand why. I mean, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts just spouting off all this like classified information to me. You know, it was just kind of funny.
Oh, don't know. I don't know how to explain it because I don't know him. But yeah, at least you had a nice conversation.
Oh, it was great. But I mean, I love my uncle. I mean, he's great. I mean, I love all my aunts and uncles. But
Have you asked him did you ever ask him then? Did you say, look, people believe that you didn't go to the moon? Have you asked him that question?
I haven't. But
So
I mean, I question it for sure. And I think that I mean he and my aunt is like a high level secretary at the Space Center.
Yeah.
She would probably know actually more than him. But the thing is that I've never asked them this because
Mm.
I mean, I need to. I think I'm going to ask my cousin first, the daughter of them, because I think that I know she'll tell me if she knows something. And I hate to ask them to divulge stuff. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't ask them. I wouldn't ask them to divulge anything. I would ask them just what they think of people who don't believe. That makes sense.
Well, I know that they know whatever it is, whatever the answer is, because my aunt is a very high level secretary there. My uncle has worked on this, the tiles
Yeah.
of this pedal. I know that whatever the answer is, they know what it is, but I don't want to ever ask them because I feel like that would be, I don't know. I'm going to ask my cousin because I know that she will tell me the truth. And I don't want my aunt and uncle to have to tell me the truth, whatever it is, you know? And so, I know it's weird, but
Yeah. But you're just asking for their opinion, aren't you, on what they believe? That's all. You're not asking for the truth because they won't know the truth either, really.
yeah, they will.
You know.
I mean, no, I think they will, is what I'm saying. And I think that they've known for a long time. And I think that that's why I've never asked them, because I've always wanted to ask them. And I know that they know. And see, that's why I want to ask my cousin, because I know my cousin will tell me. But I don't want my aunt and uncle to have to tell me because, it's classified or whatever, and
Exactly.
I know that they know stuff, but it bothers me because it's like I don't want to have to ask them for the truth, but I know that they know the truth.
Well, it's asking the hard questions, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
Well, I think well, can I ask you first? And then I'll tell you mine. What's your opinion?
I think it's easier to fake it than it be true. I think they could fake it a lot easier than actually make it true. And I think
I don't
think
think
they
we
have.
went. I don't think we went to the moon. I'll just say that right now.
No, I don't think so.
I honestly don't. I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but like I said, I think my aunt and uncle know the truth about stuff like this. And why would they just lose, all the stuff for I don't
How
know.
they did it.
Yeah. But anyway, I think my aunt and uncle know the truth, but I don't want to ever ask them, because that's why I want to ask my cousin, because I know she'll tell me, but I don't want to ask my aunt and uncle because I feel like they would be betraying whatever they have tried to keep secret or whatever, and I don't want to ask them specifically because I know they know. I know they know what the deal is, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I know they know what the deal is. And so, but I don't want to ask them because I feel like that would be like asking them to divulge stuff that they're not supposed to divulge, and so I don't want to do that.
It's just another lie, isn't it? It's another massive lie that we're being told, and we're never going to get to the bottom of it. We'll never know.
Well, no, we won't. But in my personal opinion, I don't think we ever went there. I mean, honestly, that's what my personal opinion is. But I feel like my aunt and uncle know the truth, and but I don't want to ever ask them. I just don't. I would feel wrong about doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask them either.
But I'm going to ask my cousin because I know she'll tell me. You know, that's a totally different thing because she didn't work there. You know, they did, but she didn't. And she will tell me what she thinks. I mean, now she might be wrong on whatever she thinks or whatever, you know, but she will tell me if she knows anything, she'll tell me. And I don't feel bad about asking her at all because she, you know, she was never classified. She was never whatever, but my aunt and uncle were. And I just feel wrong about asking them about stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Mm. I
But
think we've been lied to about many things. You know, many things we get lied to about by governments or by whoever, and it's only a certain amount of people that actually question it. A lot of people just go about the daily business and not even bothered. You know, don't even think about it.
but why? Why don't people question? And why? I mean, that's what I don't get. Why don't people care? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why people don't care. It's crazy to me that people don't care.
Well, people don't even ask the question why they're here. What is life about? What is the purpose of life? People don't even ask that question. They just go. They're just born and die. They don't even ask the question. A lot of people, you know. But it's in us all. It's like a niggling question inside us all. We all want the answer to why we're here, but no one asks the question.
Okay, so let me just ask you something, Simon, since we're on this topic.
Yeah,
I am a Christian.
yeah.
What makes you not, I guess? I mean, and I'm not like, you know, judging or anything. I'm just asking.
Well, I would say I'm a Christian, but religion was never a big thing in my life or childhood. You know, at school we'd say the Lord's Prayer. Um, so, but we wouldn't go to church every week. You know, it's not. So I'm not religious in that way. I've never read the Bible. I've read little bits of it, only bits that when I've actually took the time to want to pick it up, but I've never read it. Um, so I wouldn't. But to me, religion is not a. It's not something that we should be. I don't know. I think religion was more for maybe 1,000 years ago when people needed that. But I think we should have moved on by now to come together as human beings. You know what I mean? We shouldn't need a religion or a God to answer the questions for us. You know, because it's inside us all. The questions are inside us all. The answers are there inside us. I think. You know.
I would agree with you on everything that you said, but the reason that I believe in God and believe in Jesus is because I've seen him work in my life in ways that cannot be explained. I mean, I was in a taxi cab in Cairo, Egypt. I lost my wallet. I prayed to God for them to return it. And I mean, this is like, you know, Cairo is bigger than New York City, okay? And my wallet was returned to me. And there's things like that and other things that I've seen God working in my life that makes
Yeah.
me know that he's real. And so that's why I am a Christian, and also because I've seen him working in my life
Well,
many times over.
I agree with you totally, 100%. Because I've had things in my life that, in a similar way, but I wouldn't put it down to God. I would just put it down to the universe. You know, it's just the way the universe works. You know, I've had things happen to me where, or well, it's hard to explain because I can't put a label on it.
But what was your feeling though when those things happened? Because see, for me, when I had those, uh, I had those things happen, and also just like the feeling. I mean, I felt an overwhelming love. And so to me, that means that God exists. There is a God, because I felt an overwhelming love that I cannot explain otherwise.
Yes, I totally agree with you. But that overwhelming love, you're putting down to God, right? Which is fine. That's okay to do that. But for me, I just put it down to the universe. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I understand. And I understand.
Yeah,
I was
I
just
can't put a label on it, you see, because I think it's easier to put a label on it than it is to have no label, you know. And if that feeling you want to say, well, that's God, well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But we can't explain it. We don't know whether it's a big question, isn't it? Religion and God. It's a massive question, and it's an easy answer to why we're here, and God created things. Well, who is God? What is God? Is it not just the universe? Is it not just some kind of being or power that we can't put our finger on? You know, why are we putting a label on it? I don't understand why we put a label on something that's so big and massive that we can't actually. It makes it easier for our brains maybe to process it when we say, well, that's God. God did that, or God helped you here, or God came into your life. It's just easier because you've got a name for something and a label for something. It's easier for us to accept. But it's massive, isn't it? It's a massive question, you know. Because then I start thinking, well, what is God? What is it? Isn't it? It's just the universe for me, you know. The universe works in mysterious ways. It's the universe.
I understand why people think that and why they believe that, and I understand why you believe that. But for me, it's God, and yeah,
But
I
that's
don't know,
okay.
source or whatever, if you want to call it that or whatever. But there's something. I know that I felt this massive love, and I know that I've had like unexplainable things happen to me that are are crazy, that shouldn't have happened, that are statistically impossible, I mean, I shouldn't have had my wallet given back to me in Cairo,
But
Egypt.
you asked for it back. You lost your wallet and you asked for it. You asked the universe to give you it back, and you got it back, and you put that down to God. It might be God, but because you asked for it, like you prayed for it to come back to you, and it came back to you. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
It's like because we're in this reality or this universe or this whatever it is. We're beings in with all this energy around us, and we can control it if we ask for it. And that's what we do. I think when people pray, that's what they're doing. They're asking the universe. They're asking whatever it is. It could be God. God's just a label for me, you know. When someone
Okay,
prays,
so Simon, do you feel like we can manifest things? Like some people say,
well,
create your own reality. I don't necessarily believe that. I'm not saying I disbelieve it. I'm just saying that I believe that there's something going on to where, yes, you can create your reality to a certain point, but you can't like just say, I want $1 million and get it. I mean,
no. I believe if you just sat in a chair and started trying to manifest things to come to you, it won't come to you. It's actually the doing of it that brings it to you. You know, if you want a new car, you've got to actually physically get the means to get that new car, you see. But then eventually you do get that car. So you could say, well, I manifested that car to come to me, but you didn't really. You actually worked the process. You wanted something at the beginning and you asked for it. But the only way you can get to that point of when you actually receive it, you've got to go through all the steps of getting there,
well,
you know?
see, I had a situation where it was a legal situation, and I don't want to get into it because it's kind of embarrassing, but I had this legal situation where I was like, God, please help me get out of this, because I don't deserve this. And it happened.
Yeah.
And But like, was it because I prayed? Was it because, I don't think I mean, I was confident. I actually knew. I knew that I was going to get out of that situation, but it was like, how did I know? How did I know I was going to get out of that? And how did I get out of it? That's the question.
I think for me, I do exactly the same thing, but I just won't say I'm praying to God. You know what I mean? I'll be asking the universe or whatever it is. I'm doing exactly the same thing as you. As where you're saying you're praying to God, but we don't know what God is, do we? It's huge, you know. But we're still asking the same thing. We're still asking for the answers from something that we can't actually see or know. We know it's there, but we don't know where it is. And I think if once you ask for it, or you're asking for help, and you're ready to receive it, you will get the help. But it might not come in the form that you realize that it's coming in. You know.
Well, I just know that it worked for me, but I'm not a proponent of that. I am not a proponent, and please, I don't want anyone to think that, because I'm not a proponent of this, like, manifesting your own reality. I'm not. However, something happened for me that was unexplainable, and that I prayed for something to happen, and it did happen, and honestly, it was a miracle for that to happen. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we manifest I do think we have our own reality bubbles. I do think that. Um because
I think
what else is there? I don't know. It's bizarre, isn't it? I'm sorry, go ahead, Simon.
I think we do control our reality. We control our reality as in here and now, but we don't have control over what's in the future. We don't have control of what's next week because it hasn't happened yet. But we can control here and now, and we have influence over that.
I just don't know how that happened, because honestly, I'm not a proponent of that at all. But somehow, what I needed to have happen happened, and
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was amazing because it was something that was very, very, very important. And I don't know how it happened, but I knew it was. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I don't know how to even explain that part of it either. And that's what's strange.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you shouldn't get the answers either. It's like religion. It comes down to faith, doesn't it? You've got to have faith. If you have faith in it and you believe it, then that's okay. That's all you need. There's no right or wrong, or it doesn't need to be a right or wrong answer to anything. I don't think it's faith, and you believe in it, and it's the cosmos, and it's just everything, isn't it? It's huge. I think we'd be naive to think that there's nothing out there. And
there's something. I mean, there's something. I mean, whether it's God or whatever we want to call it, or I mean, there's something, because otherwise this couldn't be. All of this could not be explained.
No, it's you only have to start looking at nature to know that something made it. It's so beautiful and impressive and amazing. There's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be a reason why things are the way they are, because it'd be just dumb if it wasn't a reason for it. But to try and answer the question is huge.
How can we? I mean,
but the fact that we ask the question is the main thing, because a lot of people don't even ask the question.
Right. I mean, and that's the whole thing with, the 9/11 and all the stuff that we were talking about before. It's just like, You know, I mean, people don't ask the questions, you know, they don't,
Yeah.
they don't care enough and to ask the questions.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
it's like, how, how, and why don't they care? You know, and it's mind boggling. It's mind boggling. But
Because if the people stopped and started asking the questions, it would take them from the day-to-day life of things, and they don't want to get distracted, so they're just happy to ignore it. You know, happy to be told things because I think because the way we are, how society is, we are told things. We don't learn things. We are told things like from school. You're just told things, and you think that's learning, but it isn't. You're just getting told things. You only learn when you actually go out and look for something yourself or look for an answer yourself. That's how you learn. You don't learn by people telling you things. So if we're in a society where we're so used to just being told things and this is how it is, you just accept it. And then what you see on the news, people get told a story on the news, they accept it. Well, that's how it is. That's how it happened because I've been told it. They don't ask the question, well, maybe they're lying to me. And if they do start asking the question, they think, well, why would they lie to me? You know,
right.
it's a big question, isn't it? Why they don't care.
I don't understand it. I can't understand why people don't care. I mean, it's mind boggling to me. Why? I mean, even my sons, they're affected, but they don't care. And I'm just like, why don't you? But at least they know I'm not crazy. But still, I'm like, well, how come? Why don't you? You know, I don't know. I don't know. But
But you,
anyway, I need to go, Simon. But I
yeah,
want to have you on again for sure
yeah,
because it's been wonderful to talk to you and it's been so easy. My gosh, we've talked for like what 2 hours now and it was like no problem at all. But I want you to have you on again. But I know Scarab's gonna go on here pretty soon and then it's not just because of that. But
no, no,
but anyways, it's been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful talking to you, Simon, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that if I send you a link, you'll come on again sometime.
yeah, I'd love to, yeah. It's been really nice. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, you have a great day and a great evening. And honestly, I mean, I love you from the bottom of my heart. I know we don't know each other, but I mean, it's just wonderful to have people
Yeah,
that you can talk to about this stuff. So,
been good. Yeah. Right. Thank you
all
very much.
all
I'll
right.
catch
Well,
you soon.
okay. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye.